Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I am making some little baguette boy stuff. I've just made some keychains as well as some polymer clay pins, and I thought I'd put it together in a video today and just show you just me making some baguette boys. They will be on my next shop update, which is coming very soon. I don't quite know the exact date yet, but I will let you know here and on Instagram when it's coming. So it's mainly going to be Christmas based, this next shop update, but I'm obviously going to be putting some baguette boys on there as well. So I thought I'd make some today and share the process with you as well, because it might be fun to see behind the scenes making these little guys. You may want to make some yourself, but yeah, I'm just gonna get straight on into it. So to make all of my baguette boys, I do use polymer clay. I just prefer polymer clay to other types of clay because I find it easier, it's quicker to obviously cure down using the oven, as opposed to air dry clay where you have to wait forever. So the clay that I use is Fimo Soft, usually in the colour either it's called Rose or Flesh, and it's sort of just like this pale pink shade, but I just really like the texture of it. I find that different colours in Fimo can be slightly different textures, like some can be like harder, softer, I don't know what it is, but I've just found this to be the case, and I've always got along with this one, so I use this as the base of the majority of my clay pieces. To make the baguette boys, I roll out loads of balls all in the same shape and size, and then I just kind of roll them down to like a sausage-like shape. Sometimes I use a highlighter, as you can see here, on a piece of parchment paper, but the majority of the time I just kind of squidge them down into the parchment baking paper to make the baguette shape. I just smooth it out with my fingers, just carry on going until I'm really happy with the shape, so that the back of them is kind of flat and then the edges are all round and smooth, and I just keep going until I'm happy. So I try and fill up the whole piece of my parchment paper just so that I only have to bake one lot at a time, because obviously it saves energy baking a whole load of them as opposed to each keychain at once. I make usually around about 6 to 10 pieces in one bulk kind of lot. Once I have all of the shapes done out though, I do put the eye pins in before they bake. I know some people put them in afterwards, but for mine I put them in before because I find it really easy to get them into the clay. So I use screw-in eye pins, and I just use a pair of like craft pliers just to kind of push them into place in the uncured clay. To make the baguette boy pins, I just basically do the same, using little balls and then kind of rolling them out or using my fingers to mold them down, and I just make sure that these are just a smaller kind of size. I do use scissors with my clay to kind of cut the clay up into like equal parts to begin with, and then I just shape them out from there. Again, I just keep going until I'm happy with the way that these look. They're often slightly different shapes and sizes. I just go by each piece until I'm really happy that they're all smoothed out and everything like that. Once I have all of my pieces done, I then just remove them from the parchment paper, just peeling them off, and I put them into this baking tray. I use this baking tray just solely for crafts and polymer clay pieces. It's pretty beat up by now because I use it so much, but I just reuse the same one. Once baked in the oven, they come out a slightly darker colour. Obviously only the keychains have the eye pins in, and the obviously pins don't, because the pins get added later. So for my clay, obviously because I use that like beige colour, I do end up painting all of mine. I like to paint my pieces just because I think I get more detail on them. I prefer painting them, it's easier to control dust and everything like that. I have carpet in my kind of studio art room, and I find that I get a lot of like dust and like little hairs, so I find when painting them I can kind of eradicate that, and it just makes it like neater. So I paint mine by using some blue tack on tiles. I just use ceramic tiles and I use blue tack to hold the pieces up so that I'm able to paint each side at a time. I usually do 2 layers of the base colour, and then I go ahead and glaze all the backs of, you know, whatever piece I'm making. So whether it's the keychains or the pins, I glaze the back to begin with using 1 coat of UV resin with glitter in, and then usually 2 coats of clear UV resin. I then flip them over and then start painting on the details on the front. So if I'm doing like the backs first, I will paint the details on and then glaze them and then stick them back on the blue tack. I do this because sometimes the blue tack can pull the paint off, or it can like I don't know, have like a little bit of paint in it and put paint on. So once it's glazed, that isn't going to happen. So that's why I glaze the like back side of the pieces first. I always do the back sides as well, because when I put the details on the front and then obviously glaze the front, I want the front bit of glaze to be really perfect. So if any drips go around to the back, I can just kind of sand that off without worrying about sanding off any of the details, and then I can just kind of glaze that to get rid of the sand marks. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But basically, to get the neatest finish, I find if I glaze the back first and then glaze the front, I usually am okay. So to paint on the details, I just use acrylic paint again. I just mix all of mine up from scratch. I basically just have around about 10-12 different acrylic paint colours. I don't have loads. I have my favourites, which I buy a brand called Pebeo, and I use Royal and Langnickel ones as well, because I find the quality of them to be the best for the best price. I use tiny little brushes, usually like nail art brushes. This one here is a Royal and Langnickel like line brush. It's absolutely teeny tiny, but it's perfect to be painting on small details. For the faces, I usually use a black Posca paint pen. I would probably recommend just sticking to black acrylic paint and a small paintbrush if you can help it, if like that's easier for you, just because I find the black Posca paint pen does sometimes crack and it drives me insane when it does, and then I have to paint over it in the acrylic paint anyway. I should just switch around, but I still haven't yet. I always like hold out hope that it's not going to crack on me, but it usually does. It usually does. So once the black has fully dried, I then go in with a layer of pink. I do this all kind of at the same sort of time so that all the pink is the exact same shade, because like I said, I mix it up myself. So I paint on the tongues inside the mouth, and then I do a dot either side of the eyes to make the blush. As you can see here, look, it's so cute. And I just find if I do this in a bulk, then I will get the same shade pink, and I'm just sort of in the flow of doing those details, and I just really like it that way. I then use a little bamboo skewer or cocktail stick to put little dots on each of the eyes as well, using a white acrylic paint. So like I said, once the details are on, I then glaze that in with the UV resin. I usually use 1 really thick glitter coat and then a couple of clear coats on after that to give it a really nice, shiny, high quality kind of finish. I just like a high shine piece, and I find that's the best kind of combination to get that. I do also buff down my pieces, so I buff it down after I've glazed it and then reglaze 1 final clear coat to make sure it's as smooth as possible. With the pins, I do the exact same, and then on the back I use a strong super glue to super glue on the pin backs, and then I put another coat of UV resin over that to secure them down into place as well. I also make the packing, and to package them up I just use a backing card that I've designed and printed off myself. Pop the pin onto that by pressing it onto a washi tape, and then just pop the pin backs on and pop it in a cellophane bag, and that's pretty much all I do for my baguette boys. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know, do you love the baguette boys like 10 out of 10 as much as me? Because I just adore them. Thank you so much for watching today. Like I said, I will keep you updated on the shop update actual date, but yeah, I don't know when I'm going to share that first. Maybe Instagram. It's probably easier for me to share on Instagram, but I will come on and show the video like when the items are going live, that sort of stuff. I'm going to be sharing a few studio vlogs, stuff like that, behind the scenes, what I've been doing as well. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, and I will see you very soon for another one. Bye.